This week, the race continues to finish rooms in time for our upcoming wedding. Our adventure saving Château de Purnon takes us to the United States to promote our book Château Reawakening. And we race back to steal a moment to celebrate Mademoiselle Truffe's birthday.
It's time to start a new room. Well, actually 2 new rooms. So these are very small rooms. They are behind one of only 2 single bedrooms on the first floor of the chateau. And unlike the other bedrooms, where the 2 rooms adjoining the bedrooms are actually a dressing room and a maid's room, this is not the case because this room behind me actually doesn't have a private entrance. So the entrance is only through the bedroom. These rooms are very small, and on the original 18th century plans, although the layout is a tiny bit different, it marks this first room as a cabinet and the room behind me as a garde-robe, so a wardrobe. Although it marks that this bed in this bedroom was actually in a niche that extended into this area, I don't think that was actually the case when the chateau was built, even though it was part of the original 18th century plans. Our plan here is this is going to be a small dressing room and a small washroom with a basin and a toilet. These walls have wallpaper on them. They were originally wallpapered in the 18th century, and we have found very small traces of the original 18th century wallpaper in this first room. No traces of it in the second room, although multiple layers of more recent wallpapers. So behind me, we've already set up the scaffolding. This is the room that we're going to start working on first. The work has been done to bring the plumbing and the hot water and the cold water and the power in. And so now our task is to prepare these walls for the wallpaper. Previously, the wallpaper had been put directly onto the walls. The condition of the walls is not great. So we are going to actually treat these walls like we do with the burlap. We are going to lay a backing paper to give us a smooth surface to then put the wallpaper on. The decision about what wallpaper to use has not been made yet, but we recently made a discovery in this bedroom that might help us make a choice. Okay, so as you know, I was keen to see if there was a wallpaper under this fabric. Yeah, we know that this fabric is not original, and I knew that there was a wallpaper underneath it because you can feel it. You can feel that there's burlap, and you can also feel that there's a paper, and in places you can feel that it's cracked. Yep. Okay. So I lifted it up. Da-da. Da-da. Wow. Okay. It's beautiful, isn't it? So the other thing with this is it's been put on a really solid backing paper, unlike the other wallpapers that we found that were on quite a light one. And so that solid backing paper has caused these really strong cracks. Yes, it has. But this paper, as absolutely beautiful as it is not the original paper, because see under there's a small floral. And then you can see the elements of the frieze here that run around the edge, and it looks like there's 2 different friezes, which is consistent with the 2 different papers. Yeah, so I'd say what's happened is when this wallpaper's cracked, rather than laying a new wallpaper on top of it, they've decided that fabric was the way to go. Yeah. And this fabric, as absolutely beautiful as it is terribly faded. It's unlikely that we would consider keeping it, given that the fabric itself is so deteriorated. But it is beautiful. It is really beautiful. Yeah. It's a shame, actually, that it's so faded. Yeah, we can tell how faded it is because when we took some of the electrical cabling off, we got a peek underneath at how it would have looked when it was originally put in, and it does look absolutely stunning. Well, and also in the back of the bed head where there would have been a cushion or a pillow, then it's less faded. Yeah. So The goal is now to propose some wallpapers to Frederick,
to the architect.
our architect, and make a decision about the wallpapers. And in the meantime, whilst we look at these wallpapers and discuss them with him, we'll prepare the back room so that we can proceed with finishing the plumbing and the electrical works, and also then be ready to hang the wallpapers. So I've got a few ideas.
Okay.
So these are the Purnon papers.
Yes.
There's this paper called Barrasse, which we haven't used before. It's a paper that we found on a Beldecan, on a ciel de lit, traces of it. And
on a bed canopy.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so it's an original 18th century paper to the chateau. Of course, we're not trying to match that, but it's interesting that it has a very similar look and feel to that.
It does,
And
yeah.
especially in this blue. And so then if that pattern is too large for the room, which personally I don't think it is. So this is another one of the Purnon papers, wallpapers. It's a 19th century wallpaper that was found on the second floor, but it's a really beautiful floral.
And what's this one called?
This is August.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yep.
August, the son of the Marquis and the Marquise.
Yeah.
There's also a more sort of subdued colours.
For this room, and for the rooms behind it, I'm kind of inclined to prefer the Barrasse pattern, but it's not a really strong preference. What do you think, huh?
I love this. I think it's really strong. The blue's really beautiful. I feel like it's a bit of a nod to the wallpaper we found under here, which I quite like. It's upside down. So that's kind of a nice sort of link. Otherwise, I do really quite also love the light floral. Why don't we send Frederick
both
our
options.
preferences?
Tell him what we're thinking.
These ones.
And get some feedback
Possibly.
from him.
Yeah, so those three. And in the meantime, we'll prepare the back room. The front room, I think we'll wait a little bit. We really need him to have a look at the wallpaper.
This room here?
Yeah, we really need him to have a look at the 18th century wallpaper and see what we can save of it.
Okay.
You get a really nice view out that window of the sculpture, don't you?
You do. It's,
Do you know, I've never even noticed that before.
And in fact, it's the only place where you see the view and you're so close that you can see all of the detail of the armorial bearings on his breastplate.
Amazing.
And you get to see all the detail of his face as well, which is really quite amazing.
I mean, that's so beautiful. Because, you know, I always thought once the scaffolding came down, you'd never see them up close again, the busts. But there you go.
But you see them from here.
All right, babes. So the task is to get the backing paper up in the back room.
Let's get to it.
Cool. This is a future ensuite. We haven't shared much from this room actually, but all the plumbing and electrical work has been done, and now we are ready for our stonemasons to come and do the tiling. But they put a central light in, but I don't think they finished patching the ceiling properly. So I'm gonna have to get the ladder up there and probably just fix up the plaster and give it a paint before they come in and do the tiling, and I'm kind of hoping they're going to do the tiling very, very soon. So yeah, let's get it done.
Well, we left the chateau this morning at 4 a.m. The sun's just coming up now and we're coming into Paris. This afternoon we'll be in New York, and if everything goes according to plan, this evening we'll be in Boston. Well, we've been travelling for about 20 hours now. We've crossed the Atlantic Ocean and we're about half an hour out of Boston. So we are almost there. Boston, here we come.
Being here tonight is such an honour for us, and we are absolutely delighted to meet so many of you, and so many of you who have been following our journey for so long now.
The first time we stood on that terrace, I'd love to be able to say to you that it was a warm summer's day and the chateau was bathed in sunlight and we could see for miles, but in truth we had seen 15 chateaus already in different parts of France, in different architectural styles, and one wet, cold, foggy November morning, we got out of the car in 2019 and we looked down the Grande Allée at Purnon, which stretches out into the forest, almost 2 miles into the Cheval forest in front of us, and it is truly the most magnificent view. It is a private view that can only be seen from the chateau itself. And we looked out at this incredible natural setting, and then we looked up at the chateau itself. Its incredible slate roof, which you can see for miles around, but it was old and leaking and the slate tiles were starting to fail. And we looked at her beautiful soft tuffeau stone facades that had weathered badly over the last 2.5 centuries. We could see the shutters starting to fall off as the wood started to rot. We looked at the 2 incredible outbuildings that flank both sides of the grass court on her, and we knew that while we were taking on a project that was almost certainly beyond us, we just knew that we had found the project we had been looking for.
There is a saying in French, and it is "il reste en son jus," which is to mean something is in its original condition. And we were about to discover what that really meant and why it was always used to explain Purnon. The rain was coming down the Grand Escalier, down the main staircase like a waterfall. And I was at one point up in the roof trying to fix a hole in the slate tiles where the rain was coming through. A spider walks across me, and at the same time I get a text message from a friend in Australia saying, "It must be so romantic to be living in your own chateau." And I was like, what have we done? Well, good afternoon, everybody. So for those that do not know us, I'm Tim.
Wonderful start.
What a great start. I'm actually Felicity and this is my fiance Tim. And in 2020 we bought the beautiful but crumbling 18th century gem of architecture that is Château de Purnon.
Suddenly we started to realise the special place that the chateau held in the local community, and we realised how scared they were that it was on the brink of being lost forever. And now, suddenly, here it is on the cusp of being restored and rescued.
Our book tour trip to Boston and Philadelphia was possible with thanks to the support of the French Heritage Society. And we'd like to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who joined us at these wonderful events. Château Reawakening captures the highs and lows of the first 2.5 years of our journey to save Château de Purnon and is available for purchase via the link on your screen.